it's Jim Seamus. I'm here at Torrco today to go over the launch of the new 007E circulator from Torrco. The 007E is going to be the upgrade or the replacement to the 007 circulator. Torrco is famous for the 007. It's actually the product that built the company. And we have millions of them installed in the New England, and actually it's America's #1 circulator. So there's plenty of them out there. What I'd like to show you when it comes to this circulator is the packaging. As you can see with this package, it's a resealable box, which is really nice, so you can show a customer what they're getting. More importantly, once you open this resealable box, the circulator sits in a nice cradle, so it's not going to get injured or anything like that in transport. When you take the circulator out of the box, you'll see that it's a nice compact design. But more importantly, what we tried to incorporate with this circulator is, instead of having multiple SKUs with a flow check circulator and a non-flow check circulator, we're including the flow check in this little flap right here. And it just makes it that much easier, where it's not just thrown into the box with a piece of wax paper or anything like that. It's actually fitted right directly in here and can pop out, and if you want to utilize it in the circulator, you can push it right into the volute housing very easily. So let's get into how the circulator actually works and what we've done that we think are very saleable features. First and foremost, we made the circulator in the exact same flange pattern as the regular 007. So it's a 6.5 inch spread from flange to flange. We had a tremendous amount of contractors help us in the design of this circulator, and one of the things that they really wanted was a flange that had a nut grabber. So basically they can put their nut directly into these little inserts, and now they're utilizing a single wrench to actually put the circulator in. Makes installation a breeze. When it comes to replacement, when it comes to new installations, it just makes it that much easier. So let's look at the wiring of the circulator. The wiring is done on the side of the compartment, and you can wire on either end. We have a knockout on both sides, so whatever side you want to utilize to bring your wiring in, you're able to do that. When it comes to wiring, we again went back to the contractor base and asked them what they were looking for. And we had a split. You know, I'd say the majority of guys wanted wire leads, but there were some guys that wanted the little push tabs. So what we did is we offered the best of both worlds. What we did is we took a 6-inch 18 gauge stranded wire leads, which are very easy to wire nut and drop into place. And more importantly, what we also did is, in the design of the circulator, we allowed for the spring clips. So if you want to take your 14 gauge or 12 gauge wire and come directly into the unit and drop right into the clip, that's easily done by just taking a thermostat screwdriver, depressing the spring clip, and then the wire pops right out and you can easily wire the product. So when it came to the design and the wiring, we made it simple. More importantly, you'll notice that this circulator does not have a ground screw. This is a brushless DC motor that's a double insulated can, and it's not required to have a ground screw. Now, I wired quite a few circulators myself, and I'm going to tell you, my fingers are relatively small, but a lot of our contractors have larger diameter fingers. And that last tiny green screw has always been a tough one for them to wire. You don't have to worry about that with the design of this circulator. So let's take a look at the operation and some of the features, and I'll go over how this actually works. So if you're going to utilize this circulator for zoning, it's a simple replacement, or it's a simple new install. And when I say zoning with circulators, you have a circulator for each zone. And the beauty of this is, these are so whisper quiet that you wouldn't even be able to hear this thing run. So what we've done is we've put a very bright fluorescent orange indicator light when there's a demand for heat. So just like our Torrco SR series switching relays, you have a red light when the zone is calling on. You have a bright orange light here when the circulator is running. That's great when you're zoning with circulators. You know that your relay's calling, you know that your pump's on, and it's activated. Another real nice feature of this product is the temperature of the can itself. Because this is a double insulated can, you'll rarely go above ambient temperature in the boiler room on the physical can itself. Now, I've been around circulators for a lot of years, and you see one that may be running, 10, 12 hours at a time, and you can't even put your hand anywhere near it. You could stick your hand directly on this after running for 24 hours and you're going to feel minimal temperature beyond the temperature of the space. The second most popular feature that this circulator is used for is zoning with zone valves. And this pump really takes it to the next level when it comes to zoning with zone valves. What this pump can do is this pump can sense a change in the hydraulic pressure of the system. So how it actually operates is if a single zone is calling, the pump will create a differential pressure to satisfy the zone. As an additional zone opens up, or in this case we had one hole that was open for a single zone valve, and then a second hole opens up, all of a sudden the pressure at that point drops because now I have two holes to fill. This circulator compensates for that immediately. It will increase its speed to give you exactly what you need for flow in the system. As a third zone may open, it'll continue to increase its speed, optimizing the efficiency of the circulator. So this circulator will give you the flow you need based on what's happening in the system. As the zones start to drop off, the circulator will slow itself down. And then the best part is, when the circulator does not have a demand for heat, it actually turns off. And we all know that the most efficient circulator is one that's not on. And this pump allows you to do that really simply. So those are the two most popular applications. You can use this for zoning with circulators. You can use this for zoning with zone valves. But let's talk about what makes this different. And what really makes this different is the brushless DC motor. The energy efficiency of this product in a direct swap out can be 75 to 85% more efficient than a conventional pump. That's going to save a consumer in this area, if you're paying 21 cents a kilowatt for electricity, about $30 a year. And with the Energized Connecticut rebate, this becomes a real no-brainer when it comes to circulator selection. Saving $30 a year to eternity may cost you a little bit more at the start, but you're going to get a hell of a product for that price point. So when it comes to circulators, there's two things that hurt circulators over time. One of them is air in the system. And believe it or not, we built a feature into this product where it can sense if there's air in the system. So what happens is, Torrco built the patented SureStart into this. As air enters into this system and impedes the motor from being cooled, the pump automatically senses that. When it senses that, it flashes a fluorescent white light, so you know it's in its purging mode. And what it does at that point is it drops itself down to 7 watts of power and then immediately bursts itself up to 42 watts of power to burp out that little air bubble and then get it to your Torrco 4900 or air eliminator so it can be eliminated and removed from the system. This is huge because it takes away those nuisance calls where you have to go back and just burp the circulator. This does that for you. That's also the second biggest cause of circulators failing, because if the circulator is airbound, you can't cool the motor. And if you can't cool the motor, you'll burn out the motor. So that's one great feature that this product has. Another great feature that this product has is it has an anti-seizing feature. So if you have anything that impedes the flow of the impeller, this circulator immediately recognizes it. And this is somewhat popular in New England because we have a heating season that may last 8 months, 9 months. And then you go into a summer shutdown. And that circulator may not run for 3 months. After that 3 months, you may have a buildup of black iron oxide, or maybe some deposits get into the actual impeller vanes themselves. And when the circulator turns on for the first time in the winter, all of a sudden it's not able to free itself. So what this will do is, if there's a solder ball, if there's black iron oxide, if there's anything that actually impedes the impeller itself, this circulator senses that. It goes to a flashing white and red light, drops itself down to 0 power, and then immediately it operates at full power and it spins the impeller forwards and backwards in a vibration, so it actually can break free whatever that debris is. Turns itself back off, and then turns itself back on. If it's able to free itself from whatever was lodged inside there, it'll continue to run maintenance-free for as long as it's in operation. If it's not able to break itself free, what it will actually continue to do is it'll continue to try to break itself free 100 times in 15 minutes. If it's not able to break itself free within that 100 try, it'll go to a solid red lockout light, so you never have a burnt out motor. All of this technology has been built into this circulator. We certainly would not stake our namesake in the 007 without all of the features that you contractors expect from Torrco. When it comes to the final feature it has, we have a black iron oxygen barrier, a bio barrier also built into this. When you're dealing with ECM circulators, you're dealing with rare earth magnets, neodymium magnets. They're 8 times as powerful as a magnet in a conventional AC pump like a Torrco or a Grundfos 1558. So if they're 8 times as powerful, you want to keep that black iron oxide away. And we have the best filter on the market that allows that to not attack our system. So with that being said, we have all of these great features and benefits. We've thought of you, the contractor, when it comes to the design of this product, and we look forward to many opportunities to still remain as the #1 circulator in America. Thank you very much for your time.